This week, I'm using Posca pens on the gel plate again to create some different and interesting effects. I'm Elizabeth St. Hilaire. Welcome to my studio. This week, we're going to be playing with Posca paint markers on the gel plate, another way to doodle and enjoy the process. Once again today, I am playing with Posca paint pens on my gel plate. That seems to be a process that is so relaxing and enjoyable that everybody loves the videos, and I love making them. So I have got some favorite tools here. I've got my 6-inch speedball brayer, my deluxe brayer. I've got my 4-inch speedball Red Baron. I've got Posca paint pens of various tips. And I've got one of my Klimt Scribbles and Doodles collection stencils and my 9x12 JOGGLES paper paintings gel plate. My gel plate is very well used and loved, so don't judge me on the fact that it's not really very clean. It still works. So I'm going to put the stencil onto the plate, and the nice thing about the 9x12 plate is that the stencil is 9x12 and the plate is 9x12 and the paper is 9x12. So we're going to be using the Yasutomo sketch rice paper to pull this print. So I really like working with everything in that same size. The other thing I'm going to be using is a mister, an ultra fine mist water sprayer to spray the Poscas and give them hopefully a watery effect that we don't typically get because they are a solid edged product. So I'm always trying to find ways to make the Posca pens more painterly. I use them in my mixed media, and I have techniques to make them look more like paint than pen marks or marker marks, if you will. So what I'm going to do is color in this pattern on the plate and just kind of enjoy the process, you know, of filling in these empty areas, not worrying about getting them precisely filled in, not worrying about getting some Posca paint marker on my stencil. I'm going to spritz this with water, and so I'm hoping that it's going to have a sort of a soft, watery effect and a painterly effect, so I don't have to worry about filling in these spaces perfectly. I'm not going for a real crisp print here. So what I really like about using Poscas on the plate is the process. You know, a lot of the times we get very caught up in the final product, and of course we want to make a unique print. And I'm going to use this print for my collage process. So we want to make a unique print, but also the process, the enjoyment of just doodling, you know, into a stencil. So you don't have to think about what pattern to create. The pattern is already there for you. If you were to just doodle on the plate randomly without a stencil pattern, you can certainly do that as well. And probably with, definitely with this same technique. So if you prefer to make your own design, but what is kind of neat about this is that the design is here for you. So there's less thinking and more doodling and more just kind of enjoying the process. So that's what I like about it, is just, you know, going through the motions of coloring in the spaces and choosing the colors and not worrying about anything, right? We have a lot to worry about in life. So sometimes it's nice to just kind of not worry and kind of enjoy the process. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to fill in this pattern. Okay, so now I've got my pattern on my plate. And it was a lot of fun just doodling through that stencil. So now the idea is to spritz the Posca with the fine mist of water. And I like this mister because it's an ultra fine mist, unlike a regular pump sprayer. It's giving an even ultra fine mist over the surface. So I have to carefully pick a color to go over this. I think that manganese blue might be a good color because it's lighter than most everything except for these blues. So it could absorb those blues. I could also go over it with this Titan Mars Pale, which is lighter than everything and much different than this blue. So the manganese probably would absorb that blue, but I think this kind of very pale pink would be a good choice. So I'm going to pull a sheet of the rice paper and we're going to put the paint and put a nice layer over that. And the Poscas are moving because of the water spritz. So this should make the print, the Posca marks, a little softer and more organic. So we're going to put the smooth side of the paper into the paint. And then we're going to press with the Baron and get real good pressure out the corners and the edges. And we're going to give that a couple of minutes for the Posca to get reactivated by the mist of water and the layer of paint so that it pulls off the plate. Sometimes that can take a few minutes, and you can always peek at a corner to see if it's picking up or not. So it is picking up, so we don't even have to wait a few minutes. And again, this is all going to be dependent on your environment where you are doing your gel printing. I'm in a warm climate, so it's probably drying faster than it might if you were in colder climate or air conditioning or humidity. All right, so we're gonna pull this and you can see that the water has softened the Poscas a little bit. So we get a little bit more of a painterly effect, which is beautiful. So we get a little bit of soft edges and a little bit of a different effect than you would typically because of the water. And also this indirect printing method is a totally different effect than you would get if you just did Posca directly on a piece of paper. So you can see sort of these watery effects in here where the water kind of dissolved some of the pen. So I think that is a beautiful print. And even though we put this Titan Mars Pale, it moved around the blue from the Poscas and created kind of a beautiful bluish gray that I would not have anticipated. So I love that print. And I am going to show you now how to clean the Posca stains off your gel plate. So you're going to put a little baby oil, just like this, the Johnson's baby oil, because that is mineral oil. Mineral oil is what is in the plate to begin with. So that is the oily substance that is in the plate. So that is good for the plate to add a little bit of mineral oil back into it. And this is how you're going to get any stains or residual marks that don't come up with a ghost print off of your plate. They may eventually come off with printing, but I like to show this in case the staining bothers you, that you can get it right off with the baby oil. And while you're doing this, you're also reconditioning the surface of your plate. So it's a win-win, and it's the best way to get all the Posca marker stains off the plate just with a little bit of baby oil. I'm going to put all the supplies for this video down below in the expanded description box, so you can find the tools that I used and some other resources. Thanks for being here with me this week. I hope you enjoyed that and you're inspired to try it. The Posca's on the plate with a little bit of water and a little bit of paint that kind of mingles and meanders and blends. It's a lot of fun, especially when you get results that you just didn't even expect. That's my favorite part. Well, I'll see you back here next week.